Hello, hello, hello. Now where's that button? Ah, too many buttons. Hello, hello, hello. Now where's that button? Ah, too many buttons. Too many buttons. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Where's that button? And nice feedback. Ah, too many buttons. Too many buttons. Audio is still abysmal. Hello, hello, hello. And nice feedback. Ah, too many buttons. Audio is still abysmal. Hello, hello, hello. And nice feedback. Let me. Audio. Where is still abysmal? Hello, hello, hello. Where's that audio coming from? Let me. Oh. Where's that audio coming from? I had the looper on. Do you hear that? Just turn it down a little. It will be fine. Thousands of microphones and cables and stuff later, and the audio still is. I think it's the ATEM actually that isn't able to provide a clean audio feed, so mayhaps. Nah, I don't want to go there. I just don't want to do that. Do we want to do that? We could try. Just playing for time while we're waiting for people to trickle in, because, you know, no real work before the 5-minute mark. I really need that trailer thingy. We have that trailer thingy. And by the way, is this is the focus on this camera working? Now this is broken. If I use the correct camera controls, that even works. Camera's on 2, not on 1. I should know. So, we are closing in on the 5-minute mark. Shall we get this thing off the road? Off the road? On the road? Brain. I mean, I passed my English test, so I know what I'm doing, so don't complain if you don't understand me. It's all you. It's not me. Dinner was nice. RAR. Let's dive straight into it, because today, last time, a lot of Blender stuff, remember? But it was a nice detour today. Back to code, right? So let me, yep, that's me. Let's move this down a bit. So let's check what I did off stream, right? Oh, I love this color here. Not. Maybe Nah, we're gonna be fine. So, we're on stream 3, right? So let's check episode 3, right? We're on episode 4, so we check 18 commits ahead and 18 commits behind. Whoa. So, I forgot to tag this. So, wait, what? So we should have rebased this on, so I want to rebase this on main. Well, technically, what did we do here? Did we branch off the wrong stream? Let's see. Let's see. Why? Wait. Why? So, wait a second. So, the last commit on main, right, was merge pull request. So it was this, which contained all the episode 2 stuff. So all the June 30th, July 3rd, and July 5th, right? So why? So in theory, all of this up to here should already be merged. What did we do? What the hell? Might be in episode 3. And everything up to here so this has been merged, right? Okay. Which side is ours? I mean, I would say ours is the left side, right? And that's what we want. Okay. Where's even the difference? Right. What the? What's going on here? We have no changes. We have nothing to do. So I want to rebase on main, right? So why? This was on July. Did we mess up episode 3? Oh. Okay, let's practice this. So branches, no pull requests. Why can't I merge this? Because there's conflicts, right? So we added some stuff to the git ignore, and sorry for duplicating this, but we added the cook script, we added the asset config. I added a new background, that's what I wanted to talk about. The idle animations should have been there. I'm not sure what I merged episode 2. And all of this is in there already. What the hell are you doing, GitHub? Right? All of this is already here. Why? 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 Which branch? Okay, let's switch to main real quick, right? Because episode 3 here what the hell did we do? And all of this up until here, until here was pre-last stream, right? This was episode 2. We started to extract the game state, and that was on stream, so you even know what was happening there. What the? What? I don't get. Did we check out based on episode 2 by accident? Git rebase on different on main. Rebase on main commit. I could just because technically, right? I want to rebase on this, right? Oh, I hate the history. I didn't want to play with Git today, to be honest. we're on branch main, right? So okay, let's see. Ooh. This is what we want, right? This is the commit here, right? This is this merge, episode 2, Git for beginners. This is episode 2, and this is what we're based off, right? That's what we want. Ignore all of this. This is episode 3 on GitHub, and this is actually the git ignore for the Blender files, the game state extraction, which we started last time, and the background asset, which I did offline, right? So I added the background asset config to actually convert it. I added the title PNG and the atlas, the map, and the data, the atlas changed, right? So that's all nice. It's not added yet, it's just some drawing I made. So can we push this now? Will this... So this will... The problem is, now we're back to square 0, right? Now we're back to what we didn't want to do. So what we could do is git check out. Can we do this? And now we say we rebase this on this. Right. Then we do a git push, which won't work. And now, if we go here, oh, we have to reload the page. And now we go to the fix up, which is just these 3 changes, right? And this is able to merge. So let's create a pull request for this. And these are the 3 commits, right? The ignore some work files, and the git ignore, the game state extraction, and the background assets. And we just gonna merge this. We're gonna fetch the, sorry. And that's merged, right? So if I do a just cook now and open the RAR data, our background is here. And that's what we wanted. That is what we wanted. So if I look at the version history here, this looks nice, right? It's just this thing here. Can we rename this? No, I want to rename this to episode broken, right? Then we check out that broken. me push that up. Set upstream. Just for history, right? Just so in the future we know what we do. So this has been merged. So if I look here, we now have broken the fix up in this and this branch actually. How do I delete a branch? How do I delete a branch? Right, these two are identical. So in the future we don't. Right, so it doesn't show up, and in all branches it's still there. That's lo siento. So to avoid making this mistake, I'm gonna git check out main. The nice thing about Git, you can never lose stuff, right? You can mess it up, but you can't really lose stuff, and there's always a way to twist it around. I wish I could revise history, but so we are on main, right? So let's say git check out. Shall we do a just R real quick? So right, I want to get rid of that pink background, and that's what we were working on. So let's fix that, but we're in episode 4, and before we mess that up again, right, we're on episode 4, and episode 4 is based on main. Ignore this branch here. I don't know what I mean. I don't know why we went on here. Well, oh. So when we do a checkout, probably and create a new branch, we should be on main to get this nice back to main, new, back to main, new. I wish I could hide this pink line here for good. But we'll have to live with it. I am sorry. And just before we make a boo-boo, we're gonna push this branch even if there's nothing on it, right? So if we go here, nope, nope, here we have episode 4 now, right? That's nice, and I wish I could tell it just remove this. Nobody wants to look at it. I don't want to delete it because then we lose the history for episode 3. So if you watch this stream and look at episode 3, I'm sorry, I messed this up. So, but what we wanted to do today, right? I want this background. So that's actually, let's go here, here. I want this background to work, right? And let's do the ugly way first and then the clean way. So what is a background? A background is in our system an entity, right? Let's say it's an entity. So let's go into our RAR-RS source RAR entities, right? Right now we have the player. Let's create a touch source RAR entities background.rs, right? You have the background, and then we have the entities here. Let's hook this up. mod background, and let's say pop. Probably doesn't need to be pop, but can you uppercase this for me if I... So this is an entity, right? So let's go view a layout 2 and let's open actually the entity trait here, right? Oh, entity state is interesting, but we have to implement the trait entity, right? So we probably just steal from player, that's easier. So what do we need? We need we always derive debug to make our life easier, right? And then we have a pop struct background that at least has entity data, right? Because we need to return that. Minimum, oh, let's disable the rust checker here. We implement the background, right? Implement the background and boilerplate pop function new self entity data and entity data new, right? Forgot the second self here. Right? And then, so basically that's this. Oh, it's default, it's not even. We have default for entity data, nice. And obviously if we want entity data, we need to import that with the use. Then we need to implement, I wonder why name is in player, but, and then basically say implement entity for background, because it is an entity. We technically don't need an entity for what we do now, but, and then we say as any, as mute, just to, basically this is for upcasting, right? This is for getting the entity data, and this is if we want to kind of upcast it. So we steal the setup here. We could also steal from the entity, right? But here we already have some more boilerplate. So we want the setup. Let's make this window a bit wider. Right, so setup does nothing for the moment. Tear down does nothing. Update does nothing. Yes, we have the end. Oh, we have to fix all the warnings, right? Update does nothing. And let's say render also does nothing, right? So if I do a cargo check dash release, well, yeah, let's check release mode, right? So what did I forget? Oh, obviously, if we use the trait has to be in scope. Let's make this a bit nicer. One day I'll write a plugin to automate this. And it needs the entity configuration. Well, one day I'll write a plugin to automate this. And it needs the entity update context. Ta-da! Can you shut up now? And obviously it needs the renderer. Didn't I just copy this to the clipboard? One more error. Oh. Always. My favorite semicolon in the world. Why do we need a semicolon here? Oh, because it's a use statement that ends, but still. Missing name. Wait. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna implement. And the entity type is, if you go into entity types, what is the entity type? Decoration, right? Everything we don't collide with is basically decoration. It's decoration, and the name, I was confused why this has a name in here, but yeah, let's do this. Not a fan, but we could just probably return name here, but maybe we want to rename this later, so not sure about this yet. Oh, we need the entity type. Who would have guessed? So if I do a just run now, as you can see, you see nothing, right? Because, well, we want to use the background, so use the background. And I'm intentionally putting it into the app right now, right? So, no. We have the game state game, right? At least put it here. So we have an entity background, right? As always, simplistic, and then let's make it better, right? So we have a background now. Well, obviously we don't, so what do we need to do? So in setup, we need to say self.background.setup, and then basically do we have a background? We don't have background. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. So I'm starting to doubt giving the maybe make this an option. Shall we make this an option? Because technically, I mean, we don't even use this, right? Let's cheat. Let's cheat for the moment. Let's cheat for the moment. Once we have the EntityManager, things will get a bit cleaner, right? So, sorry for scrolling so fast. So in this setup, wait, in the forget the app. In the here, background setup, background get config. Pretty sure we missed. Why? Oh, that's all. That is all. So we set up the entity and tear down reverse order, not really needed, but an update, we just do self.background.update, and that gets the mutable entity update context. And the same in render, right? Self.background.render. Right, so in theory, still runs. And we have a background that's updating and rendering. I mean, let's do this, right? So we have two things we need to do, and we need to do a bit more, right? We need to make sure the atlas is loaded, and basically, okay, we have a problem in our cook script, right? So this here output, so right, this here is an atlas file, right? This is an atlas, so probably this is wrong, because this is right. Basically, it's the input base name and removes the .png. I wish I could just do atlas here, but that's currently not supported, so I'm cheating and put it here. Right, so if I do a just cook and do this again, I have the bg title atlas, right? And I called it title, so if I do this is basically an atlas file of the background, right? I didn't want to click my face, but that's just an overlay, so that's all cool. So I'm gonna fix this up real quick, cause do I have a force? Yes, I have, and I have a map, and I have an atlas, right? Just so we don't lose the history, and then we do a just cook again, and then we just have this file here, right? And git status, it has renamed this correctly, right? That was a mix-up I did. So just before we forget, let's add the background entity, just in case, so we don't end up with forgotten files, right? Forgotten files are always so super annoying. So super annoying. Well, let's ignore this ever happened. So we could do some magic of only loading the atlas that we ever need, but right now we have this magic in the main, right, where we basically just load all the atlas files we ever need, and we assume our texture memory is enough, right? So we just load the bg title atlas, right? And probably we just need a load. So I'm not sure if this works. Can we do a load all? Hello? 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 I think it's stuck at exactly this. So, I have to cheat. This is just OML game, right? Because the texture atlas is in here and it has a load all system render template. Why does the load all need the renderer? Because can we just oh, so in theory, if we just, this should just work, right? Why doesn't this work? We need better debugging, we know that. What did we mess up here? I don't know. So BG title atlas PNG. Oh, so that file exists, right? And since there's no template parameter in it, it counts up I, but then the file still exists. So let single file equals name. Let's just right. It's true. So if single file break, right? Not my proudest moment. Not my and okay. So if we go here, the sad thing is we stash this. We check out main. Right. Git commit fix texture atlas loading for non-template file name. We don't need to rebase this. We just push the new branch, right? So it's all nicely lined, and this still works, right? So the texture handling is what the uh-oh. Is key pressed? Didn't we commit that? Oh, I'm making a big mess right now, right? Oh, we never merged that. Oh. So if we check out episode 4, right, that's not nice. I'm making a big git mess today. Oh, that was not what was planned, right? So that works. I'd forgotten episode 002 changes. This will get better once OML game stabilizes and we don't touch it anymore, right? Because technically we shouldn't need... No. Technically we shouldn't need this, right? We should just use the crates.io version. But it is what it is. So now we load this to Atlas, right? So let's go back to the background, and basically what we can do is we don't need an animated texture. The background is not animated, which is nice. So we look into the render, and I wish we had header files, right? I wish we had header files so we could just scroll through and whoever got rid of header files should be shot. So we basically need to... Do we even need to... We can just use texture in the render, right? You can just say render or use texture. So let's pretend. Let's say renderer use texture, and the texture name is basically, so that's why we have the map file, right? So this is the texture name, right? And I think we use it without the extension. Still does nothing, but we have that's fine. But now we can say, let's look back into the renderer. We can probably say we need to use a render effect, and we just render textured full screen quad, right? In theory. So renderer. The layer is wrong, and look, we have a background that is seriously stretched. Seriously stretched is relative, right? It depends on if we hit the perfect aspect ratio. Probably like this, we're good, but we don't. So we do the duplication trick that we did in Fish, right? So the layer is wrong, right? So remember when we accidentally use the correct render effect, right? So the layer is background. I hope we have a background layer. Let's check. We have a background layer that fixes the player being in front of the background being in front of the player, right? And the effect ID, let's stick with textured for the second. I just want to show. Really? So we need the layer ID. Did I mention that I would love to write something that just auto fixes this? I mean, it knows where to find it, right? Oh, we do have a background, and the stretching behaves strangely weird. So what we could do is, if we look into render effect, no, it's just effect ID. Right, we have a background render effect. That's not the one we want. So if I just do this, careful, it will not work because the render effect doesn't exist, right? Because in the app, we need to create the render effect. All right, so background, vertex shader, and background fragment shader. That probably is still not enough, right? Because remember, our background render effect worked differently in Fish. I want to use the one in content. You just have to be careful to cook it. So the vertex shader is straightforward, right? There's nothing in it. It just passes through basically the position, the texture coordinates, and that's fine. But we have the background fragment shader, and that basically uses a double texture lookup, right? That was a color effect in Fish, so nope. And here we don't do the second so basically let's kill all of this, because oh, this is an interesting one, right? So basically we want this, right? I'm gonna go over this, but we want texture 0, and we want the OTech chords, right? We want this passed in parameter. Let's remove this and do it just cook, just in case. Did this work? Ah, we edited the wrong version. We edited the data version. We should have edited this, right? So let's do this again. This texture 0 and texture coordinates, right? And we just kill everything else. There's a problem with this. I mean, now we need to cook it. Alright, it's still the height is correct and the width is wrong. And if I look into just for reference, we had the background, right? The background RS, and we pulled some magic on the rendering, right? Layer, effect, texture, the second texture, and then we did something to the texture matrix to fix the scaling to get the kind of repeating effect. And so we get the aspect ratio, and then we say basically the height is fixed, but we want the width to be the aspect ratio, so 16:9 or whatever, because our virtual height is this. And let's, so we can copy this, right? So in the render, before we do the actual rendering, we do this little hack, and technically we don't need to do this at the moment. That's nice if we ever go into scrolling. That's not the window I wanted. This is fish, right? No, this is fish. And obviously we need to reset the, we break it, we fix it, right? Makes sense? No, no it doesn't. Oh. Can we just do an automated use fixer? So you see it does a repeating background, but it doesn't squish the scaling. So if you have a very narrow thing, it repeats dozens of times. If you have a very small one, it doesn't. And obviously if you stand right under the star, probably scaling it shouldn't change the offset, to be honest. It should move from the center, but I don't care because nobody will scale the thing while playing, and if the background doesn't align perfectly for the moment, I don't care. Right? We've just crossed the 1 hour mark. I'm gonna commit this actually, and then take a 2-minute break, right? Or maybe not. So what we want is, this is basically, this is a fix, right? Well, rename BG texture atlas to match format. And that is this one here. Tweak background shader to use a single texture for now. For now, that's this one, right? Oh, that's this one basically. And this is basically implement background, right? Add background entity. And render it. Oh, just it's added, right? So that's fine. Hey ho! I mean, it looks much better than the colored thingy maboo, right? Obviously, there's one ugly thing about it, but I let this guy dance, and I wish I had implemented a mode where he faces us. Where he actually faces us. Oh, no, it's a side scroller, right? We don't need the... Shall we have some fun with him? How about a backflip? How about a little in-place backflip? Shall we do that? Do we really? Do we? I updated Blender. Yes, that's fine. Hey Loudmo, no engine at all. Well, we're extracting the engine parts from fish. which we did last year from scratch, so no engine involved. Ooh, this is not nice. I don't want to use Blender on this tiny screen, so I'm sorry for this. Let's use RAR work files entities player Blender. Shall we really do this? Shall we really do this? Do I really want to go here? This is definitely something for off stream, right? So what if we had an action backflip, right? And this backflip, I still haven't found out how I can change the duration of this, right? I only know how to change. Let's say 50 frames. Right, the thing is that this automatically extends this as well, which I technically don't want. So, backflip, right? So let's make this super simple. We are in, I went in pose mode. So how does a backflip work? We throw our hands, bend our back, and then swing. Can we do a, maybe you want like a, okay, so let's just go brute force, right? Let's insert location, rotation, and scale as always. Overkill, I know. So what do we do first? We throw the hands, right? Why? Where's my hand controller? Nope. Nope. Where's my hand controller? This one, right? So if I rotate, nope. If I grab this one and put this kind of, let's make this simple, right? So we make this, put this here and rotate. Why can't I? Something is a bit messed up here. Why? Do I have the wrong? This is the finger, right? Do I have the wrong bone? This is the hand, right? This is the hand tweak. Where is the... This is the sum, right? Shouldn't this be? Why is this locked? Wait a second. What about the other hand? We can grab it, right? How do I rotate the wrist? I don't want to touch any non-IK stuff, right? What's pause? Hand IK. Where's this going? Where's this going? This is the hand IK, right? Where? I mean, I didn't want to go this far, but I really would like to rotate this hand a little bit. Maybe we can probably where's my hand rotation? Why? Nope. Where? So I'm not an animator, so let's ignore that fact for the moment. So, foo. Let's go to 5. Okay, let's go to 7 frames and do this again. Right, so I want both hands. Nope. Nope. I want both hands. I'm not a Blender god. Okay. I want this here and this here, right? Let's keep it simple. Looks a bit awkward, so let's move this more to the front. Let's ignore the hand rotation. Somebody else can fix this later. And let's rotate the upper body a little bit backwards, right? At the same time, no more Blender, just we push the left feet up a bit to jump from the right feet, maybe? Right, so yeah, I can see this working, kind of. Let's go to like 15 frames. This is just pure fun because I don't want to do what I'm doing next. So let's select nothing. Actually, what I want to do in the next thing is want this here, and I still can't rotate the bloody thing. Why can't I? Is that IK? Let's pretend I'm... So this is the jump phase, right? So I want much more lean here. Oh, no, I want this, and I want this a bit down, and I actually want to rotate this, but go forward at the same time. And then, oh man, any animator looking at me is probably thinking, what the hell is this dude doing? I'm having fun. Oh, maybe he throws the pad back, right? So maybe, well, maybe, right? So, yeah, creepy. Ignore the hands. Ignore the hands, please. So now we're getting into flight phase, right? So what I really want to do is I take this We're really overdoing this, right? And we shouldn't be doing this in place, and I'm sorry for what I'm doing to him. Right, and the second foot comes up as well. And the hands go really wonky, right? Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's it. And he still throws his head. A lot. Oh, he could. Nope. That's better. That's better. Right, can we... Was that the rotation problem? Yeah. Oh, now we got it. And actually that means I want to rotate the... I had the wrong rotation thingy, right? That looks nice, right? So let's insert lockrod scale and... Whoopsie. Oopsie daisy, right? So let's go to 29 here, and let's say that's the top point, right? So we really want him upside down here. Ignore the arms, and probably he's hitting his head on the ground, so I'm gonna go a bit up here, just a little. Let's grab this foot, put it here and rotate it. And let's grab this foot, and that's actually a bit further ahead now, and rotate it. And grab the hand, put it here and rotate it. And almost, I don't want to zoom. Grab the other hand, put it here and also rotate it, right? Looks weird enough. Oh, let's fix this up real quick, because we moved his leg sideways by rotating while not in. So he's kind of kicking out. I'm not sure if that's smart for rotating faster, but I mean, he's the guy doing the flip. So let's go for the 3/4, right? So again, probably we should just go into side view. Side view, take this, rotate this like this. Take the arms, put them where they belong, both of them, because I'm lazy. Lazy man. Yeah, that looks healthy, right? That looks healthy. I don't have a numpad on this keyboard. That makes things a little bit harder. Foot here, bam. Foot slightly trailing here, bam. Oh, Superman. So let's go to 44 actually. All these numbers are purely arbitrary, right? No reason whatsoever. Let's go into the side view. Let's start with the hip and rotate this to almost done. Fix up the feet shortly before landing. His legs probably just stretched like crazy, but to be honest, I don't care right now. Oh man, oh man. Forgive what I'm doing to you, right? And let's actually rotate the head slightly back where it... Whoa. Whoa, he's a weird flyer. Oh, I don't care. right? And yet now I do a nifty trick. Well, I would if I could. I just want to go back to this. I select all, I do a copy, and then on frame 50, I'm gonna do I'm gonna go in here and gonna paste and insert this, and then can I just play? Oh, I have the wrong, I have the, what did I just do? Where is my, what did I just, ha. So now I'm going to push this down and actually put it here. And if I do a oh man. I'm not sure why he's doing this weird thing at the end, but actually so we have the idle and the backflip in one now. Let's save this. I hope. Yeah. This all works, and the last frame is frame. Can you just... Nope. What is the last frame? The last frame is this frame here. It's frame 57. That's why the animation is so weirdly cut off in the end. Oh man, what did you do? What's this? Something is off here in frame 54. Gimbal lock, I don't care at the moment, so what I can do is render animation and we render all of them. Oh, backflip. And he's not hitting his head and he's staying in frame. Nice. And he has this weird twist, but I don't want Blender. What I can do now here is disable this. And then just the spacebar view animation. I'm a bit annoyed by that gimbal lock flip there. If we looked at the eye pose of that animation, we would probably see it, but I don't want to go that far today. Do I? Do I? No, I don't. So I'm gonna save this, close Blender. And then remember we have this update animations, which has this nice copy action. So if we open RAR work files entities player combined, our animation is now far longer, remember? So wait, gallery. So this was our idle, right? And it's a bit sad that maybe we should have prefixed it with right and left. And then everything up to 8 was our idle, and then he starts his backflip, right? So, and the last one is 57. So what we could just do here is, let's say first frame. So this is first frame and last frame, right? So first frame is 9 and last frame is 57. 9 to 57, and that's player backflip right and player backflip left. Correct? And then we just go into the player. So it's not safe to, but if I do update animations now, and now open rar /rar content, entities, player, and now I have the player backflip in there, right? So if I do a just cook, this will probably blow up in our face. RAR data player atlas PNG. Oh, the backflip is not there because the asset config for the player does not include the backflip, right? I just splice this in now and then to what's the word I'm looking for? To show you how the asset workflow is. So if we do just cook, probably, so we have the animations, ignore this frame here, let some Blender dude fix that, right? I don't care, and it still fits in one. So if I just do just our, oh, the problem is we have, wait, what? Player idle right. Did we just, let's look in the atlas map, right? We have the backflip in there. Oh. Well, that is not nice, cause, oh, we don't write multi-atlas, right? So GitHub OMT, yes. And then the documentation is still lousy, right? So atlas, let's actually check sort, let's check atlas, what the parameter is. So output, okay, let's check atlas. So it does a simple format U32 and it looks for %D, right? So in theory, if we replace this by %D and just cook it again, instead of overwriting, it creates a second one now, right? So it basically splits it over 2 files because it doesn't fit anymore. And if we do adjust R here, it's still using the idle, right? But we could, let's close the atlas stuff here. If we went into the player, shall we? Okay, step 1, let's replace the idle, right? Let's just, nobody saw that. Instead of dancing, oh, obviously obviously it's 57:49, right? 49? None of this timing is right? And it looks just weird because he's floating around his center, but that's how fast you can. I mean, I'm not an animator, right? And obviously the morphing between the things doesn't work because it doesn't exist. So I'm not an animator, but that's how easy it can go. And it doesn't need to take long, right? And there goes my 5-minute break at the 1 hour mark, right? So obviously we don't want that, so let's kill that again. But the data is there, and the thing is, if somebody fixes the Blender animation, all you have to do is render animation again, run the update script, and run the cook script, and it's done, it's fixed, right? So obviously, yes, I want the backflip as a special emote, but that needs this state machine that we tried to build last week, and yeah. Nope, not today. So, what did we do? I'm just gonna git at RAR content entities player, yes, star.png. Right, they all changed. Fair enough. Add backflip, add backflip, add backflip. Here it's pretty obvious what happened. Add backflip. Obviously the Blender file changed and the update file changed. So what are the untracked files? Oh yeah, I want to add the new atlas files. And because we have this this here, instead of having one atlas file, we have two now. It doesn't matter because it just loads them all. So, and episode 004, and I forgot this here, sorry about this. Add backflip to player. Not really, just the assets for now, but so add a background, add a backflip to the player, and then manage those entities. Obviously, right? I mean, this is not gonna fly. This is hell no. This is gonna be chaos, right? I don't want to add a game state game every time I add an entity, and then we have pickups and coins and enemies and tiles and decoration and blah 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 blah, right? So nope. So what I really want here is kind of an EntityManager, and if you remember correctly, right, if you look at nope, not pi, the Mac and Command keys are switched on this keyboard, and it's like every single time. So this is Omega L game. This is not fish, right? This is fish. We had an EntityManager, right? And basically that just had a vector of the entities. They were boxed for a reason. Probably could be R3 ref cells, but basically you created that thing, added, and then you could iterate over them and remove that one. So that's probably the better way of doing it. So probably, shall we just copy this over? To me it looks like a copy and paste job. So touch source and RAR entities slash EntityManager.rs. Right, so why didn't you, where did entities, entity manager, entities, why didn't you update for, there it is. Just paste this in. Obviously it's not create fish, it's create RAR. Right, and then we hook this up in entities and just say mod entity manager mode pop use entity manager, right? Just hook it up. No check on release, but release on check. But so this is hooked up. So what we can do with it now, it's super simple, right? So the game state, instead of having the entities directly, has the entity manager, and I really should run a Rust format at some point. Right, so you have this. I'm not sure why. Right, in setup we do self dot and in tear down we do tear down, right, and remove that. Doesn't do the tear down, which is a bit crazy. But let's do it like this. So right in the update, the entity manager has no update. It has a mutable iterator, right? So what we can do is for e in self.entitymanager.iter mute update, right? Yes, in. It's not ein, it's in. E, entity in. And then we basically do the same in for the render, right? Yeah. Right. So this is mutable, this is mutable. Update render could be non-mutable in theory. What? Oh, wait, where did I put the render? Easy, right? So if I do just R, nothing changed, but we have the entity manager now running. So let's do the simple thing and move the background in there, right? So we forget we have a background. We forget we have a background, right? I don't care about the background once it's created, right? So instead of self, in setup, I have a let mute background equals background new. Then I do this. Slowly moving to a better pattern, and then we just say self.entitymanager.add box new. I'm not sure why we're boxing it here. But that's the way it's wanted, right? So we don't have to do this tear down, because in theory the EntityManager tear down should do the tear down on all the entities, which we will add in a second. We don't need this update, right? Because this is the update. And we don't need this render, because this is a render, so background is still rendered, right? So I want to fix the tear down real quick. So, how do we do this? I could do a 4. I could do, I mean, nobody's running the tear down anyway, right? But we want to clean up in case we kill the game state and reuse it. And can we do a while let sum e equals, can we do that? I'm not sure. Self.entities.take. Does this compile? Let's check real quick. Rust vector take. Oh, it's a yeah, no. We could just iterate and then drop it. We can't take from a vector because, is it even a vector? It is a vector. Could be a map or something. So the thing is, I want to do a, we could start at the end, right? Can I take the last one? Pop? Removes the last element. Pop is nice, right? Pop is nice. So what we could do is, this is the wrong file. While let some self entities pop, right? That will do it in reverse order, which why is tear down? Shouldn't this be, I mean, both of these should be this, right? I'm not even sure why they aren't. And then we do e.teardown, right? We take all the elements from the end, because if we take from the front, we have memory and realignment and copying. Well, we take from the end, we just shorten the index. Oh, obviously this needs to be mutable if we want to mutate it. And we have clean tear down, right? So that's the background. And we could now do the same for the player. Actually, let's go here, right? Episode 004 at EntityManager, and actually, yeah, and then handle background via EntityManager, right? So that was pretty simple. So let's do the same thing for the player, right? I don't want this player here, right? So let's kill this, let's kill this, and here we just say, okay, basically we just copy this, right? Copy this, but we do a player new. This is obviously player, 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 and then we add this, right? Easy. We could even do the player respawn before we add it, right? I mean, just so that's the easy part, right? Already looks much nicer. So add player, add background, and you could argue that you want to add the background first, but I don't care. So that means we don't have to tear down the player. Nice. We don't have to render the player, and we don't have to update the player, right? I mean, I'm not sure if player direction, oh, it's in the entity update context. So, oh, I thought that wouldn't work, but code removed from game state game, and the only thing where we still see this is the setup code, right? Which could be scripted. So, wow. Because I thought we hard-codedly called the player and said, hey, do something. But we don't. It gets the entity update context and takes its stuff from there. And that was easier than I had planned. I mean, nope. So removed a lot of stuff from the game state game. So handle player via entity manager, right? So let's have a quick look into our to-do file. Nope. Well, we started with implement game state game, right? And we kind of did that. And what we did in episode 3 was basically, what did we do in episode 3? Oh, start to extract the game state. Oh, add background assets, right? And that was probably just for future tracking, right? 2 hours plus another 2 hours for the pixel art, and then we had episode 0004, and that's probably so far 2 hours for the stream. We add background entity, we add backflip assets, and we implement EntityManager and use it for play background and player, right? Just so we keep track. So that's nearly 2 hours. We're doing quite good. So let me check something real quick. Wrong mouse. Still here. Wrong mouse. well, wrong mouse, wrong setting for the mouse. Because I have no idea what you're doing there. Okay. Thank you for the follow, A29FC8. Is that hex for A29FC8? Do I want to know? If I want to know, put it in chat. Otherwise, I'm not going to look it up on stream. So, here's the thing. What if you want... I mean, the entity... Well, let's kill this, right? The entity manager, in theory... What if we add a second player, right? What if we just did this? What if you want a second player, right? We could just do this. The problem is... you can't see, but we're probably rendering the same player twice, right? So, what if... What if the initial position was a bit randomized, right? So what if in respawn, go to state, wait for start, we say self.pos.x plus equals random, rust random, rand. That's a crate. Do we want to go that far? I mean, the Rust Rand book. Do we really have to? I mean, 180 million, so probably features. Standard alloc get random. Okay, cargo at rand. Alloc get random. Okay, let's assume that's fine, right? So we can use the prelude. No, that's fish. Oh, I wanted to close fish and not OML. Well, tough luck. So right, and then it just says can we just say what will this produce, right? So respawn, let's say here, right? Let's say O F32 plus O, right? I don't know what the range is, so let's debug this. I probably wouldn't use a random, well, maybe I'd use a random crate, or maybe we just implement random. Come on. Come on. So, what if we multiplied this by 100? Probably too much. And then subtracted 50, right? 50. Not enough. Wondering why it's generating numbers so close together, but you can see the problem, right? So the problem is now I have controls for both players and they're always synchron. And there's no way to mitigate that. So that's why we need an input mapping. Right? We map controls to players, and that's actually what I wanted to do, so we can move them independently, because this looks fancy, but yeah, no. No. So, what do we mean by input mapping? Let's say player input mapping, right? And we explicitly say player input mapping here. So what if player input mapping, what if we had a pub struct player input mapping, right? Well, actually, no. Player input context. It's a player input context, right? It's a context. Mapping is the configuration of this. What if we had a player input context, right? And what we actually need is, for example, all we care about is, we could just say is left pressed, right? And then say bool, and then say is right pressed bool. Can we use default on bools? Rust derive default. There was a change recently. We can just derive default. Yeah, that led to this. That the question is derivable enums. Examples. What's the default for bool? Default for bool. Is it true or false? What's the default for bool? Thank you. Default for bool is false, right? So that's nice. So we don't have to do anything. And then we probably just make these pop for the moment, right? So then we go into RAR-RS, hook this up, so mod, well, basically mod player input context, and then pop use. That's your birth date in hex. That's nice. Player input context. I should remember that when I run out of usernames. Oh, but then I leak my birth date. Is that the day? Or the months? Or months, day, year, day, months? So let's hook this up and just do just R. This doesn't help with this problem, right? But if in the entity update context, right? So let's say we use create RAR player input context, right? And we had, so let's say player input contexts, right? And that was a vector of player input context. Just bear with me. So player input context is a vec new, right? And then we basically say pop player input context, and we say self and index, which could be U8, right? And this is, so I want to make this an option, but we want to panic, right? So this is basically just a non-mutable reference to player input context, and that just does self player input contexts and use the index, right, as usize. You'd see usize, right? Because I want it to crash if we're out of bounds. Oh, did we actually? Yes, we did. Oh, that's a, maybe that's a sign to stop, right? Maybe that's a sign to stop, because we're starting to make really sloppy errors like this. Oh, wait, what? Did I accidentally? Yes, I did. We want this to panic, right? So what we could do now is we could have a pop function add and this takes ownership, right? So this is just a self.player input context.push, right? Give me a second. So in game state game, right, we do where we do the update stuff. What if instead of this we said, if, let's use the other side of the keyboard, right? Let's use ijkl. So if it's j, right, on the left side we have asd, this, on the standard keyboard on the other side we have this. So we use this block here, right? So if J is pressed, we say right mood player update context equals player update context default, right? Needs to be in scope. Yes, I know. Oh, we have an entity update context, so it's a player input context, right? It's not a player update context. It's a pick, not a puck. It's a pick, not a puck. So then we say pick dot is going left equals true, right? Very, very brute force forward. And let's use the L for going right? And this is pick 0, right? And let me just say oig add player input context we just push it in, right? Right, because we have this, wait. We have this, right? And we just push it in. Didn't we name it is going? Okay, is left press. We need to really get our names right, and being tired doesn't help with that. Still, doesn't really help, right? So there's one crucial thing. And what if the player knew its input context, right? So what if the player input context index is 0? What if we had a setter, right? What if we had a setter that said, where's the setup? Let's say pop fn set input context index, right? What if we did this? And then in game state game, when we actually add the players, what if we said player 0 here, right? Player dot set input context to 0, right? And let's actually, we cheat for a second here. Let's say this is FF, right? So what if we said in update idle, instead of doing this, we said if self dot input context index is not this, else we do this, right? This second block will be gone in a second, but then we say if, so let player input context equals oig dot player input context self input this is a bit ridiculous, right? So if we have an index, instead of going directly to the entity update context, we ask the entity update context for our player input context, right? Probably forgot something. Yeah, obviously it's set input context index. Right? We could just have the getter return a none and then handle that cleanly. Maybe this could be an option. Maybe this could be an option. So we say if index is smaller than self.player. No, it's len. That's the good case, right? We return some this, else we return none, correct? Method, not a field. Oh, contexts. My bad. And then obviously the other side. I hate Rust in that regard. Can you just upcast when it's totally safe? And then obviously, seriously, so then in the player we could just say if let some pick equals oik. Well, basically we can do this, right? That if we have something, and I obviously for reasons not obvious yet, I want this to be mutable, right? Because this needs to be mutable as well. So basically it's and if you have the FF, it just means, yeah, it's so far out we don't care. So what we can do, if pick dot is left pressed, right? Is left pressed. We do this, right? Give me a second, else. If right pressed, we don't want to handle both, right? So we decide on one. And else self.speed equals 0.0, right? So if we don't set the input context and we default to FF, we won't get an input context here, and we'll do the else, so do the old school, and if we do it, we do the new school, use style, right? And I hope I didn't make a typo somewhere. So one of the players is still using the old mode, right? So A and D still work, and the new player should use the new mode, so J and L should work, right? That's nice, but obviously I want to get rid of all this crap. So I just delete it. Yeah, obviously, then we need to set one player to 0 and one player to 1. And that means, sorry folks, one player moves with J and L. Oh, one player moves with J and L, and the other player doesn't move at all, right? So almost there, and we have one more thing to do, but basically we can just copy this thing. So this is one player, right? And this is the other player. So let's say player 0 uses ADSF, right? And player 1 uses, so we can get rid of all of this. It means the player direction can completely go from the input context, right? Nice, bam, gone. So and here obviously we could be much fancier with having a configuration table that says, oh, but I want X to be left and P to be right, or I want this to be joypad buttons, or maybe I want Q, A, and Z to be left and P, L, M to be right, right? So there's still one tiny thing missing. Oops. Yeah, I didn't clean this up really well, because our start is based on the player that player is moving, right? So what we want to do is, and this is actually danger, right? To do move to game state, because this is dangerous, right? But let's say or pick is right pressed, right? Let's say we only care about left and right for the moment. it's a bit weird that waiting for start is handled by the player, because technically when one player starts, all players starts, right? Oh, entity update context line 20. We killed the member, but we didn't kill the init for it, right? So what you will see is a bad random seed. Can I get a... Instead of... where's the random? What we can do here is... let O equal self dot input context index as f32, right? So what you will see is if I press S, A or D, both of them will start to wiggle. Well, only the one I move wiggles, because the other one still believes it's waiting for start. But I can now add punching animation, right? Dance, dance off, dance, dance, little fellows. And now I can, for example, also hook up a joypad and have a third player on a joypad and the fourth player on the mouse and somebody on an external keyboard or remote, or so that's nice about this abstraction. And if by any accident somebody unplugs a controller, well, that player stops moving, and obviously using the offset is a bit... So basically just doing this by order. So just saying, okay, I add you first, so you're first, and I add you second, so you're second. What if I unplug the controller and remove an entry? Maybe, maybe not. But we have multiplayer support. Oh, multi-wiggler. I really want to add the backflip. I really want to add the backflip, but we said we do 2 hours today. And that was 2 hours today, and I think we did quite a lot. What I will probably do is wire up the backflip off stream. Shall I do that? I jump in place? Yeah, I'll do that. But first, update the to-do. I mean, basic input mapping, right? Basic input mapping. To do off stream, hook up backflip. And that goes back to the state machine for the player that I didn't want to touch yet. So let's see. Let's see. And what we also need, move world when player gets close to edge, right? What do I mean by that? So if a player goes here and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, maybe that's a bit slow for a platformer, but it goes and goes and goes and goes and gets close. I mean, we don't want them to run off, right? We want the world to scroll. Maybe, or maybe he stops, but that's a problem for another day. So, add in very basic input mapping, right? Let's update the to-do. Probably we don't need random anymore. Also made stuff quite a bit cleaner. Cleaner as always. I mean, adding functionality and making stuff cleaner, I love that. Why? Okay, and then obviously we need the input. There's a reason why this is mutable. We might have things that get used up. For example, mouse clicks on the UI get used up if I hit a button and don't end up in the game, but don't end up in the game if I hit a button, end up in the game if I don't hit a button. So, where's that? Let me have a real quick look at something. Nope. Why is... I don't want... Nobody... No, Rust streamers... I don't... Oh, that's JavaScript, I really don't want to go there. So... I'm just going to do what I should never do, but I'm sorry. Oh man, two wigglies here, right? I am gonna wiggle out of here. And actually, they should have a wiggle file. I wish I had the backflip implemented, like double backflip for end of stream, right? I'm Antti. I aim for Tuesdays and Thursdays, not this week Thursday because I'm traveling, but next week Tuesday, episode 5 of RAR, and maybe I hint at what the secret behind RAR is, but not today. So see you soon and bye bye.